The FDA allows 10,000 parts per billion of lead in your dog's food. The limit for your bottled water is 5. That is a 2,000 times difference. And in February 2026, the Clean Label Project tested 79 of the best-selling dog foods in America. They ran over 11,000 lab tests. Dry kibble contained 20 times more lead and 13 times more arsenic than human food. There is a single-celled green algae that binds to those metals in your dog's gut and carries them out. It costs about $3 a month, and the $72 billion pet food industry hoped you would never hear about it. In 1945, Japan was devastated. Food was scarce. Radiation exposure was widespread. The Rockefeller Foundation and the Japanese government launched a desperate search for a sustainable, high-protein food that could also help the body manage toxic exposure. What they found was chlorella, a freshwater green algae so dense in nutrients that it contains 50% protein by dry weight. By the 1960s, Japan had built an entire industry around it. Millions of Japanese began taking chlorella tablets every single day, with breakfast mixed into green tea, even added to school lunches and military rations. Today, over 7 million people in Japan still consume it daily. It is one of the most studied food supplements in the world. In traditional Chinese medicine, freshwater algae were documented as cleansing agents for centuries. Practitioners brewed dense green preparations in clay pots prescribed by body weight, designed to help the body release what the Chinese called stagnant toxins, substances trapped in the liver, the blood, and the gut. The preparations were consumed on an empty stomach at dawn, when the body's cleansing cycle was believed to be most active. In Ayurvedic tradition, chlorophyll-rich plants were central to seasonal purification rituals dating back over 3,000 years. Healers prepared thick green pastes from freshwater plants and algae, applied topically to the skin and consumed as bitter tonics. The deep green color itself was considered a marker of purifying power. The darker the preparation, the stronger its ability to draw impurities from the body. And then modern science decided to test what these civilizations knew all along. In 2025, a research team published a study in the peer-reviewed journal Toxics. They divided 40 rats into 4 groups. One group received lead exposure, another received lead exposure plus Chlorella vulgaris supplementation at 5% of their diet. The results were striking. The rats receiving chlorella showed significantly reduced lead levels in the liver, kidneys, and blood. Their memory function, which had been impaired by lead, was restored to the level of healthy controls. Oxidative stress in the brain and kidneys dropped measurably. The researchers concluded that Chlorella vulgaris acts as both a natural chelating agent and a powerful antioxidant under lead contamination conditions. Here is why it works. Chlorella has a unique fibrous cell wall that physically binds to heavy metals in the digestive tract. It latches onto lead, mercury, cadmium, and arsenic before they can pass through the gut lining and reach your dog's organs. Think of it as a microscopic sponge moving through the intestines, collecting toxic metals and carrying them out with the stool. A second study, published in the International Journal of Molecular Sciences, confirmed this same binding mechanism across multiple heavy metals in animal tissues. And a 1993 study at Jawaharlal Nehru University in India found that chlorella produced a significant protective effect against both acute and chronic radiation damage, which is why it was used in Japan after Hiroshima and again after Fukushima. Now, I need to be honest about something. Chlorella works primarily in the gut. It helps prevent absorption of new metals coming in through food. It does not pull metals that are already stored deep in your dog's liver or kidneys. For dogs with confirmed heavy metal poisoning, veterinary chelation therapy is still the appropriate intervention. This is a daily preventive protocol, not an overnight fix, and results are gradual. Most owners begin noticing changes in energy and coat quality after 3 to 6 weeks of consistent use. The global dog food market generates over $72 billion per year, and the companies that control it have built a system designed to keep you dependent and uninformed. Here is how that system works. Mars Pet Care, one of the largest pet food companies on Earth, owns Royal Canin, Pedigree, and Whiskas. But Mars also owns Banfield Vet Hospitals and VCA Animal Hospitals, the two largest veterinary chains in America. That means the same corporation that manufactures your dog's kibble also profits when your dog gets sick from it. Every vet visit, every diagnostic test, every prescription food sold inside the clinic, the money flows to the same place. Nestled Purina, the single largest pet food company in the world, has faced repeated FDA recalls for contaminated products, and yet the FDA's own tolerance for lead in pet food is based on a book published in 2005, 21 years ago, never updated. For your child's dry cereal, the FDA action level for lead is 20 parts per billion. For pet food, 10,000 parts per billion. That is not an oversight. That is a system that does not prioritize your pet. And that brings us to the number that changes everything. A jar of broken cell wall Chlorella powder costs about $3 per month for a medium-sized dog. That is what it costs to help support your dog's natural ability to manage the toxic metals in every single bowl of kibble. A single vet visit to investigate the symptoms of chronic toxic exposure. The fatigue, the dull coat, the recurring skin issues, the unexplained organ stress, $200 to $400. And that is before blood work. Let me say that one more time so the number stays with you. $3 per month versus $200 to $400 per vet visit. $36 per year versus thousands in tests, prescriptions, and specialty diets that never address the root cause. That is enough to feed your dog a premium fresh diet for an entire month. This video covers just one of the protocols inside the Complete Vault. Inside the Forbidden Pet Health Vault, you will find evidence-based guides covering the Complete Skin Protocol for chronic itching, hot spots, and allergies, the $3 Calm Protocol for anxiety, noise phobia, and separation fear, the food label decoder, 12 ingredients to avoid and how to read what they hide, and the emergency first aid checklist with 7 protocols that could save your dog's life before you reach a vet. Each one backed by peer-reviewed research, each one using ingredients you can find today for a few dollars. The link is in the description below this video. $37, one time, yours forever. That is less than a single vet visit. But stay with me. The complete step-by-step protocol is coming right now. Here is exactly what you need. Chlorella powder, broken cell wall variety. This is critical. Whole cell wall Chlorella passes through the gut mostly undigested. Broken cell wall means the nutrients and the binding capacity are fully available to your dog's body. Look for Chlorella vulgaris or Chlorella pyrenoidosa on the label. If the species is not listed, do not buy it. Available on Amazon, Walmart, or any health food store. A jar costs between $10 and $20 and lasts 2 to 4 months depending on your dog's size. Here's how to use it. Mix the powder directly into your dog's food once daily with their regular meal. For the first 5 to 7 days, give half the dose below to let the digestive system adjust. Dosage by weight. For dogs under 25 pounds, 1 gram per day, roughly 1/4 teaspoon. For dogs 25 to 50 pounds, 2 grams per day, roughly half a teaspoon. For dogs over 50 pounds, 3 grams per day, roughly 3/4 of a teaspoon. For cats, 1/4 gram per day, a small pinch mixed into wet food. This is a daily, ongoing protocol, not a 7-day cleanse. The metals come in with every meal, so the Chlorella needs to be there to meet them. Important safety notes. Do not give Chlorella to dogs on blood-thinning medication without consulting your vet. Chlorella is high in vitamin K, which affects clotting. If your dog has an autoimmune condition, check with your vet first. Chlorella stimulates immune function, which can be counterproductive in autoimmune cases. Mild green stools or temporary gas in the first few days is normal. It means the chlorella is active in the gut. You should begin noticing improvements in energy, coat quality, and overall vitality within 3 to 6 weeks of consistent daily use. In 1945, Japan turned to chlorella to protect a population exposed to the worst toxic contamination in human history. For over 3,000 years, healers across Asia used green algae to draw impurities from the body. Modern science confirmed it. Chlorella binds to lead, mercury, cadmium, and arsenic, and helps carry them out. The $72 billion pet food industry is feeding your dog 20 times more lead than fresh food, under regulations that have not been updated in over 2 decades. But now you have the knowledge, and you have the protocol. Your dog depends on you, and today you showed up. Everything they buried is in the complete vault. The link is below. Subscribe. Every week we open another vault. What they hid for decades, you learned in 10 minutes.